Orleans, easy to find at Lebanon's Cafe. For the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine, make it the Mediterranean diet. On Carrollton at Jeanette, Lebanon's Cafe.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts, innovative Intralocks technology, are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Pow, zap, boom, bang. It must be Batman. The suits upstairs are telling me for the next 2 hours, it's 4 consecutive Batman reruns from like the 60s. I was telling them no dice. We're running the neutral ground with Corey Johnson, and that's that. We'll see how it goes. Drew Brees is the key. If you hear Drew Brees, you know the neutral ground's coming your way. Where's number 9? There he is. Yeah, you right. Thank you, number 9. Mr. Drew Brees. Mr. Drew Brees, please report. Corey Johnson back at you on a Tuesday afternoon. Drew Brees can't do any better than what Jameis Winston did the last 12 minutes of that game on Sunday. Got a good one lined up for you. What a pleasant, sunny, almost fall-like day, huh? Almost. It's refreshing. Get outside. Temperatures, I don't know, low 80s, but humidity's like 46% right now. It's nice. I dropped some coals last night, grilled a little chicken from my Rouse's. I like that Rouse's on Ferret and Valence in between Jefferson and Napoleon. That revitalized Ferret. That street was almost dead, dormant. 5-6 businesses 15 years ago. Now there's like 30, 40 businesses. Unbelievable pulse, vibe on that street. Gotta like that. Anyway, I grilled some chicken last night. I might have to drop the coals again. That kind of night. Got a good one lined up for you, by the way. Rouse's Markets phone lines. You're always welcome to join us. Area code 504-766-9480. 504-766-9480. Yeah, got a lot coming your way. Rafaeal Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission is going to join us in 12 minutes. And it's a lot more than just Rafaeal Goyeneche joining us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission, which is always a great segment, always a great guest. But a lot going on that we need help from Rafaeal with, like that benefits package announced last week, Fausto Pichardo, and what they're up to. Well, the NOPD, just a few moments ago, talking about redeploying more than 200 officers. This is dramatic. This is game-changing type stuff. From desk work, from detective bureaus, from specialized units to join street patrols in vehicles out on the street. Fausto Pichardo, this former number 2 with the New York Police Department, brought in for at least a 6-month run. I shouldn't say at least. The city's sort of saying the out like at most 6 months. They're calling it, I think, a 10-day analysis. 50 recommendations. 50. A 9-page summary. Proactively patrol crime hotspots. They're talking about all kind of stuff like if their initial recommendations don't have dramatic results, close down the 2nd district, redeploy those cops to the 1st and the 6th. 40 cops to the high crime 5th and 7th districts. We'll talk with Rafaeal Goyeneche, break all this down like no one else can. This information just breaking from the NOPD. We got the number one guy that can break it down like it's nobody's business. Rafaeal Goyeneche, about 10 minutes away. Spread the word. Tell your friends and family. Hey, tell your friends and family about the program in general. We're with you every weekday afternoon, 4 to 6 p.m. 2 big hours on the radio, 2 big hours on YouTube. We're on television all over Louisiana, the first 90 minutes of the 2-hour radio program on TV. Now, I throw out a lot of stuff right now in about 30 seconds, but you kind of just think about what applies to you, like if you're in the vehicle, the radio. Check us out on Oh So Fine 93.9 FM. Oh So Fine 93.9 FM. We're on New Orleans' own 107.9 FM, 107.9 FM. You're traveling outside of New Orleans, take the show with you on the road, 600 AM on the radio. The AM dial, 600, from like Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida. Sneaky little powerful AM signal. We're on TV all over South Louisiana. If you subscribe to Cox, we're on Cox Channel 4 from 4 to 5:30. Anywhere Cox TV is in Louisiana, we're there 4 to 5:30. You Charter Spectrum television subscribers, it's Spectrum Channel 333, 4 to 5:30. CoreyTalks.com on the intranet device, live streaming via our website, CoreyTalks.com. And like I said earlier, we're on YouTube. Click to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Click to subscribe. Check us out on our YouTube channel. I like YouTube because you can check out yesterday's program, last week, all that. Rafaeal Goyeneche to join us. The NOPD deploying 212 officers from desk work, detective bureaus, specialized units to join street patrols. Fausto Pichardo, number 2 from the New York Police Department, a 10-day analysis with 50 recommendations, a 9-page summary, proactively patrolling hot spots, maybe closing down the 2nd District and redeploying those cops to the 1st and 6th, maybe. 40 cops to the high crime 5th and 7th districts. Getting out there, showing the criminals, the perpetrators, the NOPD is out there. Rafaeal Goyeneche in a few minutes. Ukraine is out there, and they're putting it to the Russians. It's not a defensive posture anymore. It's an offensive posture. Of course, with a lot of U.S. and ally weaponry, but better, more motivated military in Ukraine than Russia. A better, more motivated military. Better generals making more informed decisions. The troops are motivated and relentless, like the opposite of the Russian troops. Tired and not motivated. They're taking the fight to the Russians, reclaiming vast amounts of territory. Like one day, over a few days, I should say, like a territory larger than Metro London. A week later, a territory the size of Rhode Island. Driving Russian soldiers back to the border, to the Russian border. That Donbass region, Crimea, I don't know where Ukraine's going. I'd love to see them reclaim all their territory and have a military that scares Russia more than Russia's military scaring Ukraine. And one good thing about this whole deal, a few good things about this deal indirectly. It's the U.S. fighting through Ukraine. You have a country, it's not like a willing country. We put them up to it. They got invaded, and we're willing to back them. And essentially, it's going through Ukraine, fighting the Russian military directly, not only beating the Russian military directly. Let's talk about this a few months ago. That's obviously the goal, but take it to the Russian military. Like, you can break down that Russian military, that their replacement of key military components and from planes to tanks, whatever, it's very time consuming, especially compared to the United States. We've got a lot of replacing of military equipment and the like that our stockpiles for us, the United States, we sent to Ukraine. So we're going to have, Lockheed and all these companies, these military folks just churning out equipment for years to come. But no, it's an opportunity to really hurt the Russian military, take them down a few pegs. And that's exactly what's happening. Ukraine taking the fight. Yeah, check out the national news outlets. Yeah, try to get away from the political news stuff, kind of worthless. Get the real news, Northeast, West, South, real stuff. Not Republican, Democrat, not liberal, conservative, not Fox, MSNBC. Although you might watch them for these stories, I'm just saying not their typical stuff. Yeah, Ukraine putting it to the Russians. A pleasant, sunny, almost fall-like day in New Orleans. Rafaeal Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission joins us next.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, now with 4 area locations. Canal at Carrollton, on the North Shore and Slidell, in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana, and now in Metairie, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. The Woodhouse Day Spa.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
This is what Drew Brees thinks about Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Actually, Brees doesn't think at all about Super Discount Store, but they do have the lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law for beer, alcohol, and wine. Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Super Discount Store!
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms, with high-definition night vision surveillance systems letting you see what's going on. Home surveillance that's smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spots. NOLAAC.com, your cool spots.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about fresh local fish like flounder, snapper, and speckled trout, fried, broiled, or grilled. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
Wow, what's that? Galactic. That's good stuff. The sounds of New Orleans. Corey Johnson with you. Almost a fall-like day. Temperatures in the low 80s, but the humidity's at like 40-something%, which is fantastic. Get outside. Enjoy it. Really nice out there. Big news coming out of the NOPD. There's no one better to talk about it, to break it down, than Rafaeal Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. How you doing, Rafael?
I'm fine, Corey. How are you?
Pleasant outside, huh?
Oh, yeah. The weather's not the only thing that's changing right now. It's great, but we're about to see some winds of change come through the police department as well.
Yeah, I wanted to discuss with you. I mean, today would have been a great day to talk with you just about Fausto Pichardo and all of that. And we're going to get into all of that, but they're already releasing an analysis. Tell us real quick, Rafael, about the latest and greatest news, this redeploying of more than 200 officers. They're saying 212 officers from desk work, detective bureaus, and specialized units to join street patrols.
Right. So essentially, this is all hands on deck, and they're attempting to provide an instant infusion of more officers that are capable to respond to calls for service. And this isn't the ideal thing, because when they do that, they're creating other logistical issues. But their first priority has to be to protect and serve 911 calls.
Right.
So that's what they're attempting to accomplish by this redeployment plan.
Rafaeal Goyeneche is with us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Not to jump, I want to talk about the positives, but just right out the gate, what about the out-of-shape cop that comes in and no, joke intended, and drinks his coffee and eats his donuts and has been doing desk work for years? Is there going to be an attrition problem because of the all hands on deck policy? And does the benefits package announced last week, does that potentially stop the attrition problem?
Well, okay, so to answer your first question first, an officer that's been assigned to administrative or clerical duties for the last, several years.
Yep.
Will have a lot of rust and is not going to be as effective in responding to the calls for service as someone that is younger and better shape and has been doing it for months or years. So the leadership has to recognize that, and this can be structured. So with the declining numbers of officers, the police department has prioritized calls for service, and they're pretty much using their resources to respond to crimes in progress with particular emphasis on violent crimes. About 35% of all the felony arrests over the course of the department are for felony crimes of violence. That's with the declining numbers of officers. So what ends up happening is when a shift changes, there are usually a log of 10 to 20 or more cases that the working shift did not have the ability to respond to. Those are going to be some property crimes. Those are going to be lower level crimes, So the way that the police department to effectively harness and utilize their resources, the people that are new to this and haven't done it will probably be giving the property crimes that in many instances haven't been responded to in a timely manner.
Right.
Because care don't want to get there, they just don't have the numbers. So you can start to.
Well, what will they do with those crimes? What will they do with the like a house crime? What will they do?
I'm sorry, repeat that question.
What will they do with like someone that has like a house burglary or crime? How will they handle that?
Exactly.
How will they handle that, Rafael?
So if it is a burglary in progress, they will dispatch one or more cars. So I've reviewed some of the proposal that was released. There'll be some two-man units. So part of the reason for the delay in response times is when you're in a one-man unit and there's a violent crime, in some instances, the police have to wait for a backup to arrive before they can respond. Even though there's one unit there, they need a backup so that the officers can safely respond to the threat.
Right.
Well, I think there will be some two-man units now. So that unit will be, or I don't know how many there'll be, but there will be two-man units that will respond to violent calls for service in progress. And as the scene is secured, those two-man units will make the handoff to, a single-man unit. And that will allow those officers that are used to handling the more serious cases to be free to respond to those cases in a more timely manner. So they can get to the crimes of violence and the burglaries and some of the crimes in progress. They can arrest. They can call for, relief and backup to take over the case and finish the report and transport the offender to the lockup. Those are some of the things that will be done. They're just not going to put people in situations that they're not capable of responding to right now. The police department, that's their job to figure out who's capable of handling what, perform their duties safely and effectively for the benefit of the department and the public they're serving.
Rafaeal Goyeneche is with us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. I want to come right back to this topic, Rafael, specifically, and ask you how much police work can be handled by civilians. Like after the fact burglary, the cops aren't solving that. They're coming there so you can get a homeowner's claim. A car wreck, the police aren't needed there. That's just so insurance can be handled. But before we get into that, some of the more pressing things that have jumped out, just Fausto Pichardo in general. We haven't talked about that. Who's Fausto Pichardo, this number 2 with the NYPD? Who's Thomas Comforti? And why is the NOPD bringing these guys in for maybe up to 6 months to assist?
Right. So the consultant that's brought here is John Linder, the Linder Group. The Linder Group was last here in the mid-1990s when Richard Pennington was the superintendent. And Linder is the political consultant, the marketing person, the logistics guy. And back in the mid-90s, his police officer partner was a guy by the name of Jack Maple. Jack Maple passed away a couple of years ago. So the only reason that this consultant group has been re-engaged is because Mayor Cantrelle reached out. She knows John Linder. She trusts John Linder. So when she approached John Linder some months ago, Linder, has a police component that specializes in doing what Jack Maple used to do. And that is Fausto Pichardo and his associate, Mr. Conforti. So they came in here and interviewed, I'm told over 50 officers, surveyed every aspect of the police department, and prepared a plan that is emerging today. And I think Mr. Fausto, or Officer Fausto, is going to basically be the liaison between the superintendent and the department in the same manner that Jack Maple served in that role during the Pennington administration. So what we're going to see is everything on the table. Everything is going to be assessed. And I would think that the plan that is emerging in the media will be modified and improved as they start to get their hands dirty and start to see what's working, what needs to be tweaked. And this is just the beginning. This isn't the end. It's not going to be etched in stone. They have to be able to respond to what they learn as they start to deploy and, their strategies, because some will work. Some of them won't work to the extent that they thought they would, and they're going to have to reassess and reimagine what will work, because that's what they're here to do, make the police department as effective as quickly as possible in combating crime.
Hey, Rafael, about 20 seconds before we have to take this first break, real quick, do you give credit to Sean Ferguson for bringing this guy in? Ferguson said it was, I asked him whose decision, him, the mayor. He said it was him, the mayor, and the business community. Do you give him credit for that, or is that an indictment on him not getting the job done?
Well, exactly. I mean, if Sean Ferguson or the mayor didn't want this group here, they wouldn't be here. The business community is helping to raise the money to pay for it.
Yep.
But it wouldn't be here without the mayor's blessing or without Sean Ferguson's blessing.
But is it an indictment on Ferguson, though?
And success was, in large part framed by the guidance and assistance he received from the Linder Group.
Hang on, we're going to take a quick break. We're coming right back. Rafaeal Goyeneche is with us with the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Don't move.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Tommy's Lock and Alarms is now hiring service and installation technicians. Great benefits, great pay, take-home vehicle. Apply today. Tommy'sLockandAlarms.com.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Kanye West was seen shopping at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google.
Okay, I think Kanye was talking about something else entirely. Super Discount Store on Paris Road in Chalmette.
Enjoy outdoor dining on the streetcar line, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine, Carrollton at Jeanette, Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. And it handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
Don't get Fausto's Italian Bistro confused with Fausto Pichardo. Corey Johnson back at you on a Tuesday afternoon. Love getting Rafaeal Goyeneche on the program when nothing's going on, just discussing those weekly blasts, emails you get from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Keeping you up to date on a lot of crime statistics, but a lot going on right now. Rafael, is it any kind of an indictment on the chief that, he's not getting it done? If he was, they wouldn't have to bring in this guy. J.P. Morrell, a very popular or known city council person, vocal city council person, thinks the chief needs to be replaced.
Right. I don't share that view. I've seen this happen repeatedly. The mayor appoints the chief. The actions of the chief usually reflect the thoughts of the mayor, the wishes of the mayor.
Right.
So I think I've talked on your show, I know I've spoken publicly about it before, that I think it's time to change the dynamics and not make the chief answerable to the mayor, but to the public. It's not a panacea. I'd like to see the city charter change. I'd like to see the public elect a police chief. And when there's an issue with declining numbers of officers or problems in recruitment or other crime trends that are problematic, the chief's responsibility would be to the public and not to his appointing authority. I've seen police chiefs, and I'm not just talking about Sean Ferguson, I've seen other police chiefs muzzled, and they won't candidly discuss what some of the issues are. Because they will not speak out against their opponent.
That's your boss, basically, the person that gave you the job. They're pros and cons, though, on appointed, anointed police chiefs and those that would be elected. I mean, the downside, you don't have to look too much farther than Jefferson Parish, Rafael. I mean, we can spin statistics all day long, but Harry Lee's beloved. And you ask the person on the North Shore that loves him why they live on the North Shore, and they say the out-of-control crime in Jefferson Parish. So I would clearly say every day, every week, every month, every year, every decade, Harry Lee was sheriff. Crime got worse in Jefferson Parish because Harry Lee was one of the most powerful politicians in the state. How do you get, I want a cop. I don't want a politician, and I don't want what you're talking about, an anointed, appointed that can't maybe is handcuffed because they have to worry about the mayor, the boss that put him in the spot. How do you get the best of both worlds?
Exactly. So the only reason that the consultants are here is because the mayor has finally realized that the public is outraged about the crime. We've been issuing weekly updates on crime trends and prosecution trends since mid-2020. And we've seen since mid-2020 the crime rate go up by double and triple digits in all the violent crime categories, while the numbers of officers have declined. We've called for police pay raises since mid-2020. And because I think we're in part sharing this information with the media and the public on a weekly basis, the public has finally reached the tipping point saying enough is enough. You know, the mayor's concerned about her safety when she gets on an international flight and says it's unsafe for her to ride in economy class. She has to ride in first class to feel safe. But what about the people she left behind? That's the reason why there's a consultant here. That's the reason why Sean Ferguson is waving the flag, embracing this, because he's finally going to get the resources and support he's wanted, but hasn't been able to get the green light from this mayor. That's my opinion. He hasn't told me that. That's my reading of the tea leaves.
No, I think that's a pretty good reading of the tea leaves. And I think what you said about the Metropolitan Crime Commission and those blasts and you guys and, you know, here's the problem, here's how you can solve it type of stuff over years. I don't think that can be, it's incredible. And I think people undervalue it. I think we know there's crime going on, but when you break it down like you guys do, it sort of puts a name, a face. It makes it more real. You know, it's like Edwin Edwards is a criminal. Okay, we knew that. But when a DA or someone has an indictment with specifics, it hits home a lot more. The specifics you guys bring up, that is what turned the tide, Rafael. There's no doubt.
Well, I think information is power. And the public didn't have access to this information until we started publishing it. And I think we're now seeing the dynamics shift where the politicians were dictating to the public what they were willing to give them from a public safety perspective. Now the public is demanding of their politicians that their public safety rights be emphasized and addressed. That's the reason the consultant's here. That's the reason that all of these, the mayor announced that she's now embedded in the police department. I'm shaking my head. Why do you wait 4 years to embed yourself in the police department? And then after she makes all of the rounds with all of the districts, her response is, they didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. Then why did you wait 4 years to do something about it? It's because the public now is demanding that something be done. And that is, I think, the reason why I'm suggesting make the police chief answerable to the general public. If they don't like what they see, they vote the police chief out of office.
Rafaeal Goyeneche is with us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Rafael, you mentioned the first-class airfare just in passing about the mayor. That's sort of the straw that broke the camel's back where, I mean, we tolerate a lot of crap, but I think that kind of really got people upset, and it helped people pounce on those statistics and all that info you've been throwing out about crime. It gave them something to, Well,
I mean, those comments by the mayor are fueling the recall petition. But keep in mind that, the first-class safety argument that she made, she had already started talking to John Linder and the consultants about bringing them here. When she had to cancel her Singapore trip because the public was outraged that she's leaving town on an excursion when crime is in the state that it was. That's when she decided to make the rounds in all the police districts and embed herself in the police department. So, when she makes comments about, I didn't feel safe in economy, that's why I had to opt for using public dollars to pay for first class.
Right.
That just feels logs on the recall drive.
Oh, well.
It's something that just infuriates the public. But she recognized that the winds of change occurred weeks before that, when she had to cancel her Singapore trip and focused on this crime issue and embed herself in the police department.
What about?
You there?
Oh yeah. No, Rafael, it is mind blowing sometimes. You almost want to fall back in the chair, and just exhale. I mean, it really is. And, the thing that I think really hit home, when, like you with the statistics, when folks hear first class travel, that stings. When they hear $18,600 for round trip to the French Riviera and it's a 3.5 day stay, like rich people don't do that. Wealthier, like, let's fuel up the jet and go to the French Riviera for 3.5 days. So, jet lag, all that, but just $18,600, Rafael. People are like, that's what I paid for my car. That was my down payment on my house.
Yeah. No, again, the mayor has dug a hole for herself.
Yep.
And usually every time she opens her mouth, more likely than not, she's making her situation a little bit worse and fueling the recall petition.
She says she's not going to reimburse the city on that 30,000+ in upgrades. What do you think about that?
Well, it doesn't really matter what I think about it. I don't live in the city of New Orleans. The people that sign those petitions, it matters what they think about it. I think it's pretty outrageous. But then again, think about it for a second, Corey. We saw that when she was running for mayor as a council member. She misused her city council credit card.
Yeah, as a personal line of credit, basically.
While she was running for the mayor, it became a campaign issue. And sure enough, she paid it back. She said she didn't know that she had done that, and it was an oversight. But now she's a lame duck mayor. She cannot run for a third term. So, the city's on the hook to her. She doesn't have to worry about, being reelected because she's term limited out.
No, you're right.
So she's basically, she doesn't care what the rules are. I've reviewed the rules. The rules say that city employees have to use the cheapest fare possible. And if they don't, they have to reimburse the city.
Yeah, or if they choose to upgrade.
Some people are claiming that she's elected and therefore is not an employee.
No, that's just so nauseating when you're making up an excuse.
I looked at her financial disclosure form that every elected official has to answer.
No, just making
she
excuses.
lists her employer as the city of New Orleans. Her paychecks come from the city of New Orleans. As far as I'm concerned, she is an employee of the city of New Orleans. She may be elected, but the same rules that apply to every other employee apply to her too.
Rafael, the fact that it's even being discussed is pathetic. That you're trying to weasel out on verbiage technicality, like it's just pathetic. It's pathetic. I don't know what else to say.
Right.
Hey, I could ask you about 5 more questions. Can you stick around? I've already had you 30 minutes. You got to run.
That's okay. No, I can stick around for another segment.
Perfect. No, I'd love you to. We're visiting with Rafaeal Goyeneche. I've got some more questions about Fausto Pichardo and this 10-day analysis, these 50 recommendations, this 9-page summary. Rafaeal Goyeneche's with us. Don't move.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30, and they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Have a painting project but can't decide on the perfect color? At Helm Paint and Decorating, we offer half-pint paint samples in any Benjamin Moore color for under $5, so you can test potential paint colors before investing in a full gallon.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Rafaeal Goyeneche with us with the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Hey, Rafael, instead of doing this at the end, how can folks get that email blast, all those crime statistics? How can they find out more about the Metropolitan Crime Commission? And also, if they've got some tip or some criminal activity they want to report to you guys, how do they do it?
So they can register for the crime trends bulletins that we put out twice a week. On Monday, we talk about the crime trends. On Wednesdays, we talk about the prosecution trends. You can do that at metrocrime.org. That's our website. You can also submit a tip about ethical, administrative, or criminal wrongdoing in the public sector online, or you can call our office at 504-524-3148. And of course, if you're old school and you just want to give us your email over the phone, we'll add you to our database and we'll send out the reports to you. There's no charge. The important thing is getting this information out to the public. There's a lot of different features in this. So if you live in a certain part of town, you can actually click on the maps and see what type of crime is being committed in your neighborhood on a block-by-block basis. So there's a lot more to it than just numbers on a spreadsheet. There's a lot of useful information that people in the various parts of town can learn a little bit more about how their neighborhoods are being affected by crime.
This 10-day analysis, I think they're calling it, with these 50 recommendations from Fausto Pichardo and Thomas Comforti. A 9-page summary, I guess, just sort of their macro view coming in and looking at the NOPD kind of holistically and fairly quickly. kind of obvious right out the gate. Proactively patrol the crime hotspots. You've been talking about that for a few years, that 60% of the crime, the violent crime in the city, Rafael, what, in 7th, 8th, 9th Ward?
Well, actually, 50% of the violent crime is concentrated in the 7th and 5th police districts.
Yep.
And those concentrations are either even further segmented into neighborhoods within those districts. So that's something that can be used to the police department's advantage. They don't have to basically cast a giant net or even a net over the entire district. If they can reduce violent crime by 50% in those two districts, they've reduced violent crime citywide by 25%.
Wow.
So that makes it more manageable.
Yep.
That makes it where, by freeing up these officers and identifying the worst of the worst, one of the plans is to identify in each district the 10 worst offenders and then see if you can develop evidence to arrest and then get a well-written police report to the district attorney's office and allow them to prosecute those individuals. We can start to clean up the neighborhoods, step by step, arrest by arrest going forward. I've had some discussions with the DA, and I think that the public will be impressed to hear his willingness to assist and work closely with the police department in holding accountable the violent and repeat felony offenders.
40 additional cops are going to be assigned to the 5th and 7th districts. I think that's part of the plan.
Well, that's where your hotspots are.
Yeah.
And there needs to be, in my opinion, and I didn't see that fleshed out in this report, but every district has a detective unit, and what you're seeing with the redeployment plan, many of those detectives are going to be redeployed into the patrol division, but there'll be some left. And I think that the residue of detectives in each district is going to be relatively small. And I think the way that you maximize those detective investigators is, rather than keep them in little small compartments in each district, you centralize them back to headquarters. So instead of 3 detectives in one district, you may have a detective unit of 20 or 30 detectives. So you can assign them
where they're needed
of a district, a neighborhood, and put together a plan to clean up pockets of high calls for service, high crime, and you can deploy those detectives all over town. As you clean up one area, you move them into another. And I think that will be an effective strategy. I'm looking forward to meeting with Mr. Pichardo and talking to him about some other ideas that I might have as well.
You just jumped the gun on me. I was going to ask if you've met with Fausto Pichardo or Thomas Conforti, any of those guys. That's great to hear.
I think it'll be next week.
That's great to hear. Hey, Rafael, You said earlier, they've got their ideas of what they want to do. They're going to go attack them. Some things are going to stick. Some aren't going to work, and they're going to have to come up with the secondary plan. One of the secondary plans that they've discussed already, closing down the 2nd district and redirecting those cops to the 1st and the 6th.
Well, exactly. There have been studies that have been commissioned decades ago that suggested reducing the 8-district format to 6 districts. So what they're doing is, my cursory review of this report, it just came out this afternoon, is that they're suggesting that the 2nd district be segmented and divided between the 6th and I think the 1st.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's right, 1st and 6th.
And so what they'll do, and the reason that they're suggesting that is calls for service, and generally crime in the 2nd district is some of the lowest in the city. That doesn't mean that the 2nd district is not a priority. That doesn't mean that crime is going to be ignored in the second district. It will allow for the delivery of services without some of the redundancies. With 8 districts, you have 8 command structures in all of this, and there's redundancies there.
Yeah. It's time to be lean and mean, streamline, and like you said, all hands on deck. Yep.
Exactly.
Hey, Rafael, what's the website again?
Excuse me, metrocrime.org, and the phone number is 504-524-3148.
Rafael, thank you so much for this afternoon.
Anytime, Corey. Thank you so much.
That's Rafaeal Goyeneche with the Metropolitan Crime Commission joining us on the program. That's Blue Boy saying stick around. 5 o'clock powwow is next. 93.9 FM, 107.9 FM New Orleans. Corey Johnson with you till 6.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port. Where can you find shish kebab in New Orleans? Lamb, beef, chicken, shrimp, plus all your other Mediterranean favorites. Lebanon's Cafe on the streetcar line. Lunch, dinner, and shish kebab. Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, is now more convenient than ever. Now open, the Woodhouse Day Spa, Metairie location, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. Metairie and Kenner's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms. With smart home technology, control lights, locks, cameras, thermostat, and your alarm, all from your phone or laptop. Smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
When you think of Fury's Restaurant in Metairie, you think about their daily lunch specials like red beans and rice, black-eyed peas, white butter beans, liver and onions. Daily lunch specials. Fury's Restaurant in Metairie.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Time for Taxi. Danny DeVito will be joining us live in studio to talk about the episode. We'll break it down like never before. Danny DeVito joins us live in studio to break down Season 3, Episode 9 of Taxi. That was back in October of 1979. Where's Drew Brees when you need him? Drew, could you bail me out, please? Help, number 9. Thank you, kind sir. Yeah, you, right, Crescent City and beyond, you're in the right spot. Yeah, real talk radio for New Orleans. Isn't that refreshing? The lightweights are done for the day. They'll be back tomorrow. I'm with you till 6 o'clock. Heavyweight talk radio, telling it like it is. We're not scared. We don't screen phone calls like the other guys. We never cut you off, especially when you disagree like the other guys do. No, it's a different deal over here. Thanks for finding us. Oh, so fine, 93.9 FM. Thanks for finding us on television till 5:30, Cox Channel 4 television, Spectrum Channel 333 television, all over Louisiana. CoreyTalks.com live streaming till 6. CoreyTalks.com. Hey, we're on YouTube. Spread the word. Tell your friends and family we're on YouTube. You can watch, listen to the program on YouTube. Take it wherever you might be. And click to subscribe. It doesn't cost a thing. Yeah, The Neutral Ground with me, Corey Johnson, on YouTube now. Boy, what a pleasant sunny afternoon, huh? Almost a fall-like day. Temperatures in the low 80s, but not feels like 95. Temperatures in the low 80s and feels like low 80s. Thank you, 46% humidity. Excited to go walk the dogs tonight. Get that, sun out of the sky, little breeze blowing, hopefully. Might have to drop coals again for the second night in a row. Grilled a little chicken last night. May have to do something tonight, maybe some pork. Who knows? Maybe some seafood. Just a really nice day. Get outside, enjoy it. The first break from the heat and humidity outside of like overcast and rain. I mean, it's sunny. It's nice, but not so humid and not so hot. A fall-ish, not quite fall, but a fall-ish type day. Getting a little taste of what's coming in about 4 weeks. This will be behind us. 4 weeks, this will be in the rearview mirror, I think. Anyway, we got a good 5 o'clock power hour lined up for you on a Tuesday. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot of breaking news today. We had the best guy in the business to break it all down for you right away. Rafaeal Goyeneche joined us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission with those email blasts of crime statistics every week, few times a week. always a great legitimate guess. But when the NOPD announced just right before we went on the air, redeploying more than 200 officers from desk work, detective bureaus, specialized units to join street patrols, that's significant. Rafaeal Goyeneche last hour broke it down for us. Also, this Fausto Pichardo hire, the former number 2 with the NYPD up in Manhattan, the 5 boroughs, Thomas Conforti, John Linder, these consultants looking at the NOPD, looking at the city, the crime, what needs to get done to turn it around. They have a 10-day analysis that's been put out. 50 recommendations, 9-page summary, proactively patrolling the crime hotspots, putting 40 additional cops into those high crime 5th and 7th districts, talking about potentially getting rid of the 2nd district, potentially, and redirecting those cops from the 2nd district to the 1st and 6th. Rafaeal Goyeneche joined us to discuss all of that, the benefit package that was announced last week. Also talking about the mayor, and the mayor is, believe it or not, helping to get this momentum going. Not the way she planned it or her idea, but kind of her belligerent attitude, the junkets coupled with the obnoxious first-class airline seats like the 3.5-day French Riviera trip, where the ticket for her alone was $18,600, it pissed people off. You know, that's like what somebody paid for their down payment for their house, what they paid for their car. And LaToya Cantrell's flying round trip for that amount of money on the city's dime, and then comes up with these just pathetic, lame excuses. Talk about, what do they call it? Not scarecrow. What is it? When you deflect the argument, Jason, be like, we were talking about the great technology of the cell phone. And you're like, we're discussing that. And you're just like, oh, so you're for child labor working on what? No, I was talking about the great technology of the cell phone. You're like, you're shift. Yeah. I think it's, I mean, there's a bunch of little names, but I think they have it's not scarecrow. It's, what is it? Straw man argument. I think that's what it is, the straw man. You might as well argue with the straw man because you're not, bringing up anything valid on what we're discussing. You argue. Yeah, red herring. There's a lot. But that LaToya Cantrelle loves the straw man argument. Brings up her daughter. Well, I said her daughter was off limits. Protesting in front of her house, off limits. You people that do those kind of things, it's just over the top. The daughter, well, what's wrong with you? Bring up 13, 14-year-old girl, it's pathetic. Protesting in front of her house is wrong. Go protest down at City Hall, protest somewhere else. I don't think you traumatize the neighbors and traumatize this little girl. But the mayor brings up, I'm raising my daughter. I mean, it's just wrong. And then brings up black woman and protecting and just all this nonsense that is non-applicable, does not apply to what is being discussed. Total deflection. And then, what, you're going to question how I raised my daughter? That would be her argument. And she'd be upset. You're going to tell me what it's like being a black woman? Yeah, I'm a black female woman reporter. Yeah, I am. It's crazy. And that's what happens. I mentioned before, when the facts are on your side, you argue the facts. When the law's on your side, you argue the law. When neither's on your side, you pound the table. A bunch of straw man type stuff. No, that's, no pun intended, the straw that broke the camel's back that got the city really upset. NOLA coalition going, gumbo coalition of people, black and white. I love when black folks call black folks that choose differently from them like sellouts. Like they're sellout. There are some black folks that are like white folks, like a lot of racist white folks, Black folks that don't want it to be a gumbo, a kumbaya, everybody together. They live for the fight. It's entrenched in their DNA. They fight till the death. They don't even remember what the goal or objective was. And if it's reached, they're not happy or satisfied. Just how it is. I mention that all the time because it's real and it's applicable and it's here right in front of us, or was. That Black Lives Matter march on Baton Rouge to the Capitol. Black and white together, police marching, black folks, white folks holding hands. You know, the goal, the objective, is it going to translate to 24/7, 365? I doubt it, but isn't that what it's all about? And then you get some agitators, mostly from out of town. This is the march? Oh, no. We're going to find the police. We're going to police headquarters. And then the confrontation, throwing the water bottles. Police have to come out in the SWAT gear. All of that makes the national news. How did that get going? The Baton Rouge cops started that, or the agitators that weren't satisfied with the march that was the Gumbo March? Black and white together, the goal, the objective, trying to be met. No, they're folks that look at that and go, black and white? I don't want black and white together. Isn't that what you're fighting for? Equality, black and white, everybody equal? It's just unbelievable. No, some folks are in it for the fight, don't know what else to do. Now we have a mayor that is 110% reacting to all this, just more belligerent, not running for re-election. Yes, as many junkets and free meals as she can pull off in the next 3+ years. Hey, every day we broadcast live on radio, television, YouTube from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. Honest air conditioning experts that come immediately. That's all you need with an AC company. Honest, can't rip you off. AC experts, they're not trying to figure out what's broken. They know what's broken and they fix it. And they come immediately because you're hot in this summertime heat. NOLAAC.com. That's how you find River City's Total Maintenance. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday afternoon.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris
The
Road.
lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, Super discount store in Chalmette.
For over 30 years, one of the premier security companies in New Orleans and South Louisiana has been Tommy's Lock and Alarms. And right now, Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring. Come and work for one of the best security companies in the region with great pay, great benefits, and a take-home vehicle. Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring, and they're looking for you. To apply for one of these coveted positions, go online to tommyslockandalarms.com. Tommy's Lock and Alarms.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
You on the Causeway Bridge, beeline into the North Shore right now. Checking us out on Oh So Fine 93.9 FM. Why don't you call Trey Yen and get a big to-go order tonight? You know Mom and Dad and the kids love Trey Yen. Problem solved for dinner. Don't forget the Tong Cho sauce. So good. Trey Yen tonight for dinner. You South Shore folks, don't think it's like for the weekend only. It's 30 minutes door to door, 25 minutes door to door from Lakeside Shopping Center to Trey Yen in Mandeville, because there's no driving on the North Shore. You cross that causeway immediately on your left. Yummy Trey Yen. Don't forget those lunch specials. Or you're in or around Mandeville and it's lunchtime and you're thinking fast food. Don't. Trey Yen has fast food prices for gourmet Chinese lunch specials. 18 different ones to choose from. So good. Trey Yen in Mandeville. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday, a pleasant, sunny Tuesday afternoon. May have to drop the coals tonight. Head to my neighborhood Rouse's and grab something to throw down on the grill. It was some chicken last night. Came out really good. Really good. Big news today, the NOPD redeploying more than 200 officers from desk work, detective bureaus, specialized units to join street patrols. 40 cops alone going to the high crime 5th and 7th districts, which represent 50% of all violent crime in the city. 50%. If you can get a stranglehold on the 5th and 7th district as far as violent crime, you can dramatically reduce the crime statistics in the city of New Orleans. I think closing down the 2nd district, redeploying those cops to the 1st and the 6th, expanding those back, that's probably a good idea too. 50 recommendations in this 9-page summary from Fausto Pichardo, Thomas Conforti, John Linder, these outsiders that have come in, pro-cops, observing, looking at the NOPD and trying to figure out how to fix the problems. Sometimes that's the easiest thing. I mean, it's like you can be critical of people, like you build a house, the foundation, the slab, you frame it, you brick it, you got to pick out all the interior things. Anyone can come in and look at that and go, man, wouldn't the sink in the kitchen have been better by this window and maybe the stove there? And you could go, maybe, maybe not, but you had 1,000 things you had to do, literally 1,000 different decisions to build that house. Someone can come in and nitpick 3 or 4 things that maybe could be improved real easily. But there were 997 that you had to do, and you did them right. The NOPD could be a smooth riding ship where 997 things are done right, and there are only 3 they pick out. That isn't the case. It's a broken boat or broken ship. It's a lot of folks leaving the NOPD. I don't fault the NOPD or the individual cops, the chief. The problem's much bigger, going back to Mitch Landrieu and getting rid of surpass, and instead of cutting fat in this bloated city, took away from the police. So New Orleans has never recovered from that. And the attrition continues where you're getting veteran cops with experience, 15 years and, calling it a day, and then a green group of recruits coming in, and it's, 75, 85, 95, 100 cops leaving every year. It's 10, 12, 15 recruits coming in every year, and they're green. So it's dramatic. So it requires dramatic measures. So I applaud the mayor, the city, the business community, NOLA Coalition, folks that influenced this move to bring in Pichardo and company. No, we need dramatic change. That benefits package gets the attention of a lot of cops from around the city, around the region, around the country. And now this redeployment sends a message out to these criminals, especially in the high crime 5th and 7th districts, that there will be an NOPD presence. I liked what Rafael was saying last hour too about, I've talked about this. We know who the criminals are. That's not a secret. I remember Bernazani, the old FBI director, like 15 years ago, showing me this binder. It reminded me of my old doubloon collection. Spiral binder. It's got those clear pages. You got like maybe 4 or 5 doubloons across the top, maybe about 6 or 8 down. That's what this binder was like. But instead of doubloons, it was pictures of criminals. Pictures of criminals, the most violent criminals in New Orleans. It's not thousands and thousands of criminals in New Orleans that makes this a violent city. Sadly, I mean, that it's that this violent, and it's really dozens and dozens of insanely violent criminals, and then maybe 150, 200 violent criminals. So you get the few dozen insanely violent, just insane, shoot them up, rape, murder, don't care, don't think they're going to live for 6 more months, live in an alternative universe. You get those idiots off the street. You get a big chunk of that 150, 200 other, quote, violent criminals off the street. And crime just dramatically changes in New Orleans. No, on one hand, it's like, great, that's the solution. On the other hand, you're like, that's it? That is it. You folks that think, Corey, it's 500 plus violent criminals and it's hundreds of super violent. It's not. It's dozens and dozens. It might be 50 to 75, 50 maybe, hyper-violent lunatics, 3, 4, 5 dozen tops. And then there's like 150 to 200 tops violent criminals. You get those losers off the street, you reduce crime 90% in New Orleans, like 90%. Unbelievable. Anyway, no one can break it down better than Rafaeal Goyeneche. A lot of this stuff is breaking today. We had Rafael on last hour. You can check that out on YouTube, on Anchor, on iTunes, on Spotify, all that good stuff. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you. On a gorgeous Tuesday afternoon, almost fall-like. Why aren't you at Katie's right now? You can sit outside at Katie's and enjoy that appetizer, that dinner, that drink with friends and family. Bunch of New Orleans characters at this quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. A true taste of New Orleans, Katie's in Mid-City. Hey, don't forget about Bienvenue, the Katie's of Harahan, right in the curve on Hickory. Yeah, Scott Craig and the crew at Katie's bringing a little New Orleans, Mid-City, New Orleans flavor to Harahan and Hickory Avenue. Bienvenue, the Katie's of Harahan. Yeah, and Katie's in Mid-City. When's the last time you've been by Katie's in Mid-City? Go check it out. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining us on radio. Oh, so fine, 93.9 FM. We're on TV for about 90 more seconds, 4 to 5:30 every weekday afternoon, 4 to 5:30 weekdays all over Louisiana, 90 minutes of fun on television. Cox Television subscribers, Spectrum Charter Television subscribers, anywhere in Louisiana, Cox Channel 4, Spectrum Channel 333, 4 to 5:30. CoreyTalks.com live streaming. Don't forget, you can check us out on YouTube as well. Hey, I got a few $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates available. Jason, you don't remember the parties on the South Side from dawn to dusk. It's South Side, do you? You have no idea what that is, do you? Jason looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Someone does know, Jason. I'm looking for who owned South Side. Who owns South Side? The party's on the South Side. From dawn till dusk, it's South Side. So-and-so, South Side. That was the theme song. Rage Cajun, South Side. Who owned the South Side? Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. Jason loves my singing. If you know who owned the South Side back in the day, for you Yats, I got 50 big bucks at the Woodhouse Day Spa for you. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. The parties on the South Side from dawn till dusk. It's South Side. Blank, blank, South Side. Who owned the South Side? Give me the answer to that. I got a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate for you. 4 area Woodhouse locations: Mid-City, Canal Street at Carrollton, Metairie near North Kenner, Transcontinental at West Esplanade. They're on the North Shore, Slidell, I-10 at Gauze. Coming soon, a second North Shore location, Mandeville Woodhouse, coming online in the next few months. They're in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana. 4 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. A 5th Mandeville location coming online soon. Speaking of online, you can find out more about them online, nola.woodhousespas.com, nola.woodhousespas.com, 766-9480. Who owned the South Side Bar and Dance Club in Metairie, Louisiana? The party's on the South Side. From dawn till dusk, it's South Side. Blank blanks, South Side. Who owned the South Side? I love how he put his name in it like, oh, wow. Oh, it's Jason the Raging Cajun, aka Man in Black. He has a reputation as a fabulous bar and entertainer running guy. It's Jason the Raging Cajun's South Side. Huh? No, not Corey's, because that would be crap. He doesn't know what he's doing. Jason, man, he knows how to set up a good place with great music and food and drink. Anyway, if you know the owner of the old South Side, I got a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate for you. 504-766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 504-766-9480. I'll be checking out. It's hard to find news. Isn't that sad? From 7 to 10. It just doesn't sell. We've had the discussion, right? MTV videos, yeah, it was successful. Jersey Shore, really successful. Money flowing in. News, just regular news. Doesn't have a lot of sizzle or pop, you know? Political news, the right attacking the left attacking the right. These partisan folks, they find a home. That's going to get more ratings, bigger audience. You're going to be able to sell more advertising at a higher rate, make more money. So MTV may be music video, but it's Jersey Shore. And MSNBC and Fox might claim to be news outlets, but they're political news outlets, which sucks when Ukraine is
putting it to Russia. Now, I'm going to get Carlson Tucker or Don Lemon to tell me about Ukraine and Russia. Anyway, the Ukraine is putting it to Russia with lots of U.S. and ally weaponry, obviously, but better, more motivated military, better generals making more informed decisions. The troops are motivated. The Ukrainian troops are motivated and are relentless. The Russian troops aren't motivated and are running scared. Taking the fight to the Russians, reclaiming vast amounts of territory at lightning speed. Driving the Russian soldiers back to the border. It's pretty amazing. It really is. It's amazing what Ukraine's doing. And they're, not only beating Russia, not only reclaiming territory. Who knows? Maybe they reclaim the entire Donbass. Maybe they go down to Crimea and take that back. And then maybe they become the dominant military over Russia, which has been decimated. Their military has been, I don't want to say their military complex has been destroyed. It hasn't been. But their military complex has been greatly dented, greatly damaged. Anything can be fixed or repaired. But it's getting close to being totaled. The military, the veteran soldiers, veteran generals, I mean, the stories that we're going to find out, it's like, I'm at the Smithsonian, I'm looking at like the lunar landing stuff and reading about it. And this is a few decades ago. And there's like stuff that Russia released, like a probe landed on the moon at the same time. We're going to hear so much stuff 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road about this and who was killed, how they were killed, just the incompetence, just the pathetic Russian military going in overconfident, thinking it was going to be a few weeks, thinking they were going to go to Kyiv and just take over the entire country, put in a puppet government. It would be Ukraine, but it would be Russian Ukraine, 100%. Send a message to NATO, send a message to these other border states, countries. Instead, just total backfire. And the flow of arms now, the getting it to Ukraine, getting it from where it gets in Ukraine to the front lines, putting the weaponry in the right hands, everything's just more efficient, better and better. No, it's fantastic. Don't it's hard to stay on this every day, every night. I get it. But this is big for democracy around the world, for the future of Europe. Putin could be ousted. You have Russian state-owned media where if you go overboard, I mean, how would you like to be a media member there? You can kind of be critical, but if you go too far, it's a crime and we'll arrest you. There's some people being pretty critical on Russian state-owned media, which is going out to the general public. And then you have, mothers and fathers with sons not returning that are dead. And that story's spreading. And then stories of defeat and the wounded coming back and they're demoralized and they're getting their rear ends kicked and they're telling stories. So even in a very controlled environment like Russia, word's getting out. So this is really great news. Ukraine proactively taking it to Russia. It's pretty amazing. It really is. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday afternoon. I got a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate for you. The party's on the South Side from dawn till dusk at South Side. Blank, blank, South Side. Who's blank, blank? Who's the owner of the old South Side bar, saloon, restaurant, dance club? Just a crazy place that went from dawn till dusk. They went all night. You could roll into the South Side 3, 4 a.m. in Metri, brah, right outside Fat City. I think it was right outside of Fat City, like right on the edge of Fat City. Wonderful Fat City. Hey, every day this program on radio, television, YouTube, brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex, surrounded by Lamarck Ford, Lamarck Lincoln on this set, this TV studio set. The Lamarck Automotive Complex is pretty amazing. Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park, 50 million plus bucks. It's all brand new. It's all state of the art. Home of the number one Ford dealer in the region, not just the city. Home of the number one Lincoln dealer in the region, not just the city or area. Number one in the state, the Lincoln dealership at the Lamarck Automotive Complex. You think 70-something-year-old Ronnie Lamarck would be done, but he's 70-something going on 40-something. He scooped up legendary Crescent City Ford in Elmwood and Harahan. That's right. It's now Lamarck Crescent City Ford. 2 Ford dealerships. The big store, the original at the Lamarck Automotive Complex, and now Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood and Harahan. The big store by the lake, Lamarck Crescent City Ford by the river. Ronnie Lamarck doing the usual, bridging the gap. Every day this program on radio, television, on YouTube, brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex, and now the brand new Lamarck Crescent City Ford.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms. With high-definition night vision surveillance systems, letting you see what's going on. Home surveillance that's smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
At Home Paint and Decorating, our paints are in it for the long haul. In fact, our top bench more exterior paints come with a lifetime warranty. Not 25 years, not 50 years, we mean forever. You heard right. At Helm Paint, our top exterior paints have a lifetime warranty against chipping, peeling, and flaking. They also are mildew resistant. Imagine painting your home one time and being done with it. Visit any one of our locations today and make that once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Paint that has a lifetime warranty. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about the freshest local seafood anywhere. Shrimp, oysters, speckled trout, flounder, snapper, soft shells, crawfish. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, is now more convenient than ever. Now open, the Woodhouse Day Spa, Metairie location, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. Metairie and Kenner's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
You're talking about France from which we've come.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice.
You're talking about France that has an ambassador living in the city of New Orleans.
We talking about practice.
You're talking about France.
We talking about practice.
You're talking about France.
But we talking about practice, man.
You're talking about France.
And we talking about practice. What are we talking about?
Talking about France.
Practice?
France.
Well, we talking about practice right now.
You're talking about France that has residents and artists in residence right here in the city of New Orleans, over 4 of them.
We're talking about practice.
You're talking about France.
We're talking about practice.
You're talking about France from which we've come.
But we talking about
France.
It's funny to me too. I mean, it's strange to me too.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you. Every weekday afternoon, 4 to 6 on the radio, on YouTube. 4 to 5:30 on television every weekday afternoon. Make it a habit. Boy, what a pleasant, almost fall-like, just pleasant sunny day. Refreshing outside. Kind of recharges your batteries. Will Corey and others get motivated because it's almost fall to start exercising again? Or are you going to still use the corona crisis excuse? Boy, I don't know if you have any acquaintances or friends in your lives that there's one cat, I basically, I'm not to his face, just in my head, it's like Mr. Excuse. Everything all the time, anything, just constant excuses, doesn't even know he's doing it. It's almost like I've got to stay away from him up to a certain extent because it's, excuses are failure. And, you're trying to be successful. You want to be around people that are successful. Life is like golf. I go play golf with a trio of guys that shoot 105. I'm probably not going to play that well that day. I go play golf with a trio that shoots 73. I'll probably play some of my better golf that day. You kind of rise to the level of the folks around you. Anyway, big news today. The NOPD redeploying more than 200 officers, 212, from desk work, detective bureaus, specialized units to street patrols on the street, tooling around in the NOPD vehicle, in the squad car, the SUV, whatever, the cruiser, and having their presence be known, especially in like the high crime 5th and 7th districts where 40 additional cops will be assigned. They're talking about shutting down the 2nd district and redeploying those cops to the 1st and 6th districts. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. The perfect guest, Rafaeal Goyeneche, joined us, breaking all this down like nobody's business. Talking about 8 districts. Maybe New Orleans should only have 6 districts. These districts might have, 5 detectives in each one. Consolidate all the detectives, centralize them, and then you could put 8 in one, 2 in one. This district doesn't need a detective right now. This one needs 2. Whatever. Instead of this equal number thing. Fausto Pichardo and Thomas Conforti, John Linder, these consultants the city has brought in. They just released a 10-day analysis with 50 recommendations to improve the NOPD. It was a 9-page summary. They even admit some of them are going to work, some may not. But the ones that don't will have to double down, and that's where that closing the 2nd district, redirecting those cops to the 1st and 6th came from, I should say. Proactively patrol the violent crime hotspots. 40 additional cops to those hotspots, the 5th and 7th districts. Now, this is all good news. Rafaeal Goyeneche, as I said, joined us last hour. You can check it out on YouTube, Anchor, iTunes, Spotify. Breaking it down like it's nobody's business. The benefits package announced last week. The news a few hours ago of the redeployment of more than 200 cops. The 10-day analysis from Fausto Pichardo from the NYPD and the other consultants. Yeah, nobody can break it down like Rafaeal Goyeneche. I'll be checking out national news tonight. You should too. Ukraine is putting it to Russia. The interviews from like folks in these villages that were overrun by Russian flag, Russian currency, Russian television, all this crap in Ukraine. Now Ukraine flags are flying. These villages are like Ukrainian military, just fantastic. Totally surprised the Russians. The Russians were literally running into their tanks, running into their armored vehicles, and hauling ass in the opposite direction towards the Russian border, abandoning vehicles, abandoning ammunition, munitions all over. No, Russia's taking it right now. And Putin's catching a lot of crap. Even Russian state television has been slightly critical, more than you'd ever believe. No, as I said earlier, Ukraine, a better, more motivated military. It's not even close. Better generals making better, more informed decisions. The troops are motivated in that Ukraine military, and they are relentless. Taking the fight to the Russians, reclaiming huge swaths of territory, driving the Russians back to the border. I mean, this gets you going, man, could Donbass be next? Crimea down the road? Russia's getting pummeled, and a lot of that U.S. and ally weaponry and training and expertise. A lot of British and U.S., observations, surveillance, suggestions, a lot of it. Hey, Young's Dry Cleaning has been around since 1940. I say they are a New Orleans institution because they are. 8+ decades. Years of excellence at Young's. They're the biggest because they've always been the best. They've got walk-up locations, free pickup and delivery, manless locker locations, dozens and dozens and dozens of those. There's probably a Young's Express manless locker location near where you live or work and you didn't even know. To find out more about the best, youngsdrycleaning.com, youngsdrycleaning.com. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. I've got to mention Bob Mitchell passing away. I remember Bob Mitchell from Cool 95.7 FM. Yeah, got to mention Bob Mitchell passing away, the real Robert Mitchell. Just an FM disc jockey that did his job for, man, I'd say about almost 50 years, right about 50 years, 45 plus, might have been 50. A total pro, always prepared, a humble guy. Doing it's radio. You get people that have bad habits, that do goofy stuff, hook up with people at work, drugs, whatever, alcohol, problems. Bob Mitchell, never any of that ever. Totally professional, totally prepared, totally alert, humble. And you go back in the 60s and 70s, DJs like Bob Mitchell were like actors or movie stars or rock musicians. They were famous. They were entertainers. They were known entities. They were celebrities. So Bob Mitchell has, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 200, 2010s. Now, I remember him at Cool 95.7, and I'd be doing morning, sports or something for Bruce Miller or something like that, or Kenny Wilkerson. And Bob Mitchell would be doing his morning show on then Cool 95.7, and we'd talk when music was going on and I wasn't on air or whatever, in the hall or in the studio, and just always laughing, always funny. He would listen to my show. He liked my opinions and what I had to say, and that made me feel good. And he was just a nice guy, and he'd chuckle and laugh. We didn't always agree on stuff, but even when we didn't agree, he would just be quiet about it. He wasn't like busting chops or anything. Anyway, a lot of you grew up with the real Robert Mitchell, Bob Mitchell, passing away. And just wanted to mention that because just a really good guy, one of the good guys in radio. It's a weird industry. I use the word talent, lightly when I say it. I'm not trying to say radio people, television people, me, newspaper writers, musicians, actors, whatever, talent, whatever. But some of these folks have wacky egos. And wacky egos are hard to deal with. How do you tell people things when they're just insane? When they think they're so much bigger or better than they are. You never, ever had to worry about that with Bob Mitchell. He was big. He was huge. But he never mentioned it because he was humble and he was just a good guy. Corey Johnson with you.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms. With smart home technology, control lights, locks, cameras, thermostat, and your alarm, all from your phone or laptop. Smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City. Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
They're open till 9 p.m. I went overboard yesterday at lunch. I had gumbo, onion rings, speckled trout. I was by myself. just small onion rings. I knocked out about 75%. And I was like, you better stop, Corey. I knocked back that cup of gumbo in about 3 minutes. So good. So good. And then the speckled trout is as good as it gets. Fresh, local, speckled trout, flounder, snapper, lots of choices. They're open till 9 p.m. tonight. Don't forget Wonderful Furies. So good. Open till 9 p.m. Furies in Metairie. And just about 6 blocks in, across the street from that Baskin Robbins I used to scoop ice cream at 40 years ago. 40 years ago when I was 15 and 16 working at that Baskin Robbins. That was a good gig. Good ice cream. Still good ice cream. Baskin Robbins chocolate chip. Pretty darn good stuff. Anyway, Fury's is really good. So they're 6 blocks in to Metairie. That means Metairie folks, Old Metairie folks, Lakeview, Lakefront, Bucktown, Mid-City. Real easy to get to, just a few minutes away to Fury's in Metairie. Love me some Fury's. What's that, Blue Boy? I did not bring you any speckled trout yesterday. You're right, buddy. I didn't because I knocked it all back. I could have brought you a few onion rings or French fries, though, and I didn't. Sorry, buddy. Hey, Blue, it is a wonderful afternoon. You ready to go for a walk, buddy? Low humidity. Can't wait to get out there. Frisky. Thanks, everyone. 93.9 FM New Orleans. See you mañana, 4 p.m.